Good Friday afternoon, evening, even Saturday morning, wherever you may be. How are you doing, Victor? You're in an undisclosed place again, right?
Undisclosed place, and I'm doing a live.
Doing a live. That's good.
Yeah, better than the alternative.
Yeah, instead of 6 feet under, or you're 6 feet over. Or what, 2 meters, I guess, is the better way to say it.
Yeah, 2 meters underground right now.
Well, technically,
literally.
You're literally, but not really.
No, I am. So.
No, I know you are, but. Hi, by the way, my name is Darren. This over here is Victor, and we are the co-host of a podcast called DevOps Paradox, and it's funny you bring up 2 feet under. And on Wednesdays, we have the podcast come out 6 a.m. Eastern. On Fridays, we do this live stream most Fridays. More about that in a few minutes. Can I do it? We talked last week about me ordering Macs.
Something happening that was not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
That was supposed to happen, but everybody gave up.
Gave up on me. So we'll get to that in a second. Frash, good to see you. Ingen, hello. This is pretty funny. Today's topic is, why don't we have a DevOps tool named Victor? There is actually one called VictorOps.
VictorOps. Exactly. Not mine, but there is VictorOps, yes.
Wish it were, yeah.
I never tried it. Did you try it?
I haven't tried it. I've heard about it, but I haven't tried it. Sebastian, good to see you. Official start for the weekend. I don't know if we should be... we're thankful that that's a good thing, but is that where you really want to measure? There's got to be a better way to start your weekend than listening to us. Right? Okay. Yes, I ordered a Mac. And it arrived on Wednesday. But beyond that, I haven't opened it yet. So we're going to unbox it right now. You ready?
Yeah.
Let me switch over. And I'm going to go full screen.
This is very significant since it happens in your case once every 15 years.
Yep. So here we go. See? I have not opened this. Ooh. That was satisfying. Okay. What do we get here? Alright. There's... Slide that underneath there. Sorry about the lighting. This is not totally perfect, but here we go. Mac Mini. And most importantly, refurb, which means cheap. Cheaper. You ready for this? Let's see what it is. And this should drop out quickly. Not so quickly. Ta-da! Okay. Wait. I guess we have to do it the right way. There's the Mac Mini. Oh, wait. It even has black things on the back. Here, let's do that. Look at that. Look at that. Mac Mini. So, but, wait. But wait. There's more. You ready for this one? The next one is Deems a New Song.
I don't remember last time I saw you so excited.
All right, here we go. Let's see if I can zoom out a little bit. Look at this box. Breaks all the way open. What is it, you may say? Mac Studio.
Welcome to 21st century. Darin.
Yeah.
22
Wait.
years later.
Notice this also. It's a little bit harder to see. Apple certified refurb. Mac Studios are now on the refurb site.
I
Already.
can't even understand how is that possible.
I have a guess. I want to try to open this just because. Oh, there's tape. More tape. Here we go. Let's. All right. There's that one. I've seen how this is done. Let's see if it actually works. I know this whole show isn't going to be an unboxing episode, but I got to figure out how to do it. Is it another one? Oh, I see it. These are weird. There we go. There it is. It's fabric. Sorry for the swinging. I'm literally suspended by a couple of cable ties. There it is. All the ports. Even ports there. So wait. No, there's not another box. So now we stack them. And that, my friends, is what we do for today. All right. That's
There
enough
is
of
no
this.
way. Oh, you like my nails?
I like your nails. Did your daughter do them for you?
Yeah, of course. You know, in my case, what you just did would be literally impossible.
What do you mean?
It would be. I would not sleep if needed, but that would be opened immediately.
Oh, so yeah. So they arrived Wednesday. My daughter had told me you should do an unboxing. I went, okay. And when the boxes arrived on Wednesday, she said, "Oh, why don't you just go ahead and open them now?" I went, "Wait, you told me not to open them." So, all right, let me move this swinging camera out of the place here. Actually, let me turn it off. Not that it matters. Okay, yeah, I'll deal with it later. All right. So, wow, comments. Oh, my daughter's actually watching. Yes, there it is. I sure did. And as she said here, you're welcome, everyone. Baby girl, you need to live closer. One way or the other. By the way, everybody get your drinks. It is Friday. We have a lot to celebrate today. Oh, and my wife's even in, saying, finally. All right, good. Yes.
This was a family event.
Yeah, okay, here. So, all right, so
Cool.
let's go here. So let's see. All right, so let's go through here. Oh, this is pretty funny. I'll go back to here. Sebastian, your live stream is my sign to finally stop working and start the weekend. Okay, so I'm okay with that. And again, I'm fine with yours too, but this is a better way to do it.
You're not the first one, first person who gave up on working after meeting Darin.
So satisfying. Love good unboxing for my daughter. Let's see here. Start idea. Laptop with an ARM chipset running Arch Linux. Maybe.
Only if it comes out of the box.
Yeah. Next time,
Kind of like a
unboxing ASMR. Okay, we've talked about this. I agree with you. It's got to come out of the box. It's got to be sort of like the Steam Deck, right?
Yeah.
Not
yeah,
Stream
exactly.
Deck, but the Steam Deck.
Yeah, exactly.
So now that I have this Mac Studio, that's going to be my daily driver. I am going to do, I haven't decided if it's going to be a live stream yet, but I'm at least going to record how I edit the podcast. So that one,
Nice.
I'm at least going to record one, and at some point I'll probably do a live of it as well. But that's just a bigger, because I got to figure out all the moving parts, especially with some changes that the software is. So, and again, yes, I am going to enjoy my new toys very, very much. Oh, this is funny. Yeah, okay, Sebastian said it. I had the patience. I had so much stuff on my plate this week. I knew if I opened them, I would not get the other things done that had to be done before today. So I figured, yeah, I can wait. I've waited 10 years. I can wait 2 more days. Let's get into, we were talking about you being 2 foot underground.
Yep.
Are in-person events dead? That was this week's podcast. Funny enough, this episode, we were sort of, how's it going to be when we first started out? And it turned out to be probably one of our most favorite episodes we've recorded in a long time. Because I gave Victor some ideas. I don't know if you've implemented them yet or not. Meaning sending out the talk ahead of time, and then when people show up, you do a Q&A around that.
I could have done it if I remembered the conversation.
Yeah, I know. That's fine. But, okay, so here's an interesting thing. On SD Times today, there was an article by Rob Enderle about in-person events in flux and in trouble. And this is pretty funny, or not funny, sad. They talked about CES, which was completely remote last year, and CES this year went back to in-person, but attendance was extremely low. This is what I'm hearing for most US-based or US in-person events, is the attendance has been low. Dell was well attended, but many people got sick and likely regretted their attendance. I've heard that happen a lot too. In fact, that happened at KubeCon EU, right? A number of people complained about, not complained,
Yep.
reported having caught the C word.
Many, like, not, depends how you define many, but yeah.
Yeah. More, probably less than 7,000, but more than 3.
Yeah, I think it's in low double digit, like 10,
Yeah.
12, something like that.
More recently, Microsoft Build was completely and entirely remote, well attended and well executed, but lacked the social benefits, which is one of the things we talked about in this episode, is not having those social benefits. I want to go ahead and say to Sebastian, I think it's all events, not just the 2. What do you think?
I think that small events will go back to the initial glory because they're local events, really. It's a way for people to gather. I think that big events will continue being big, like KubeCon in Europe proved that. What will happen is that there will be smaller number of people in total going to conferences, which is going to affect all those silly events I'm not going to name, usually commercial, that do not really provide any significant value. So it's competition.
Yeah, let's answer Daniel's, because he may not have been here at the beginning. Not a new background, just a different location.
Different location, exactly.
Yeah. So, in the show notes, at some point tomorrow, I'll have a link, obviously, to everything we talk about today. But this article goes into a lot of points that we brought up in the podcast this week. You know, keynotes and product presentations can be done better remotely than in person. Think about the WWDC or any of the Apple events that have been done over the past 2 years. Production quality is phenomenal. They can make fun of themselves. Think about Kevin Federighi this year, where he was doing basically the flash run through everything. And there was memes galore out of that. So there's things you can do in those types of just talk about it that you can't do when you're actually physically live.
Depends on the event. So if you have an event like Apple something, right? That event can be as successful or even more successful, actually more successful, fully remote, because really the whole world is watching, no matter whether you are live or live remote. But now those events that depend on interactions, they're not going to succeed online. So all those events that are accepting sponsorships, hoping that attendees of events are going to interact with them, sponsors, vendors. I mean, come on. that's not going to happen online. So either that will disappear or it will, three options actually, disappear, go back to in-person, or, and this is now important, realize that when you change the technology, when you change the medium, you cannot do exactly the same what you were doing. Remote is not the same as in person. Online is not the same as in person. And that's the problem. Every single conference I attended did exactly the same online as what they do in person. And that does not work.
Yep. That goes to right here with this last sentence in this paragraph. Microsoft has showcased the advantage of having its own video production capabilities, Apple as well, because those virtual events in terms of targeted content, entertainment value, and execution exceeded most others that I've seen this far. I did not see Microsoft build, but when you treat online as television, that's completely different than treating it as a live event or just broadcasting a live event. So you spend a lot more time creating the stories. Go ahead.
And I bet that Microsoft and others did not make it in a way that the only option to watch it is at that very moment. I'm pretty sure somebody watched it live, somebody watched it an hour later, somebody a day later. It's like, it's streaming. It's not exclusive, it's not Twitch.
And we're not on Twitch. Anyway, that was this week, in-person events. I have strong opinions about this, but I think the common opinion that we have on this is you cannot treat online the exact same way that you treat in person. You just can't. Not if you're going to be successful. You can. Let me rephrase that. You can. You shouldn't.
That's equally successful as when you lift and shift on-prem to cloud.
Meaning it's not successful.
You said it.
I did. That's fine. So anyway, podcast comes out on Wednesdays at 6 a.m. Eastern. Let's get into a couple more items of news this week, because right now you're the only thing standing between me and these two little machines. Not that I'll actually get them set up today.
In your room, so nobody's standing between you and them.
Yeah. CubeFS. Oh, come on. Here we go. CubeFS accepted as a CNCF Incubating project. Have you heard of CubeFS? I don't know why I'm having a hard time saying that.
No. I mean, I heard the name, but that's where my understanding of it stops. So distributed storage, something like Ceph, I'm guessing.
Like Ceph. Yeah, that's the only thing. I'm assuming that it's there, and of course they don't really get into it a whole lot. You know, comparing, because all of those are also projects under the CNCF umbrella. But, so new project. We don't see a ton of new projects going in, but to hear it talk about Sandbox, that's the reason why. I mean, storage is the one thing that still hasn't been solved. Right.
Yeah,
there are options,
mature,
but it's not solved.
Maybe.
Mature is a better way to say it. You're correct. Everything else has matured pretty well. But storage still hasn't. And it's the hard part. So anyway...
Ooh.
What? Sebastian's
no,
comment?
while waiting, Sebastian, can you just clarify your comment?
Yeah.
While Darin is talking.
Yeah, because there's Sebastian, what you just put in could mean 2 or 3 different things. So, yeah. So anyway, CubeFS, now part of Sandbox. One more acquisition this week was Kubeshop, who is the wrapper around TestCube, Monocle, Cusk, and TraceTest, acquired BotKube. So now you can do ChatOps for Kubernetes. I don't know how I feel about this. Because do I want to be chat-opping with a live cluster? Querying, sure, I'm fine with that.
Is it ChatOps for Kubernetes operations or just ChatOps? Okay.
Yeah. So any of the majors, Slack, Teams, Discord, Mattermost, get notified. So I'm okay with this one. That's good. Customize the level events. Good with that one. Receive recommendations. Good with that. Directly interact with your clusters from within the messaging platform without requiring access to kubectl or underlying infrastructure. Danger.
Yeah. Please let me
Depending-
know if you do that within a company I work in, and you'll get fire notification. Season how was the season the test? I don't know. Anyway.
Oh, cease and
you're
desist.
gone.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So depending on how implemented, but my gut is telling me bad things. And then debug deployment services and other Kubernetes objects through familiar and audible interface. Okay, whatever.
That's great. I love it.
That's fine. So I think overall, this is very cool. I'm just concerned
Actually,
about
sorry, it's
this
not.
one.
It's not fine at all.
This one isn't debugging?
No. So kind of like getting some links and clues about the issue, yes. But are you really going to go through huge amount of data through some Slack-like interface?
I wouldn't.
Exactly. So kind of like notification with the context, yes. But then details, you need to go somewhere else, not in chat, please.
So anyway, BotKube, now acquired by Kubeshop. Pretty good one. Let's see, did he... yes. Do you want to answer Sebastian's question with this clarification?
I don't know what happened, so cannot answer. I'm not.
Yeah.
I expect you to be in the loop always.
Yeah, So the gist of it is, okay, I'll put it up. Open source projects want to move away from GitHub because of copyleft violations from Microsoft for a paid service. And to be specific, the Software Freedom Conservancy, to be precise. I have not read these specific ones. I know there has been controversy, and I'll air quote it, around when I've used Copilot, I've had some code pop in that looked very beyond open source to me. So that's my concern with it, is how much of it is AI, how much of it is copy and paste, that it's making the recommendation from something that may not have been under a permissive open source license. And that'll get shaken out. I'm not concerned about that part. Over time, it's...
I suspect it's a combination of two things.
Mm-hmm.
First, it's Microsoft, so we must complain. Remember the comments about when Microsoft bought GitHub, that it was kind of the end of the world situation. And probably there is some truth, but I would be surprised that there is no mechanism within code spaces and to validate the Copilot, to check the licenses. So I'm pretty sure that that's more kind of, we did not iron it completely than ignoring it.
Yeah.
And by the way, I love it. I love it.
I do too. I have to keep reminding myself to turn it off when I'm doing video recordings, just because, like, probably not the best idea. Miroslav, you were asking, you're a little late to the party. That's good. You missed the unboxings. Not that they matter, but I'm going to show you anyway. Because why not? There's the stack. There's the stack. And you may ask why. It's because I can. I have the control. Well, actually, Victor has control right now, too. I found this post that Weaveworks put out in May and somehow or another missed it completely. 16-point checklist for GitOps success. Now, you think 16 points and you think that's a lot. It's not. But I want to take this one step further. And I want to give a lot of props to the people at Weaveworks on this. Other than the things that were GitOps specific, this is great for Kubernetes implementations, period. The points that they pull up here, we've adopted Kubernetes for container and infrastructure management. This is a prerequisite. If you're not doing Kubernetes, you don't need to be even thinking about GitOps. Right? So I'll just...
Yeah, forget it.
just forget it. Could you do it? Maybe. But you would be rolling your own. And you wouldn't be able to leverage Flux or Argo or other things that will show up over time. Team culture. We have a documented and clear workflow between application development and platform. It's got to exist. But this isn't just Kubernetes specific. This is just in general that you should have this day one. We have trained teams on the new workflows and tooling. Okay, ignoring GitOps for a second. We have teams that are trained on workflows and tooling. Not new, just workflows and tooling, period. How often do companies, they may send people to training, but it's not training within their context. That's where people will mess up.
So I'm now getting slightly annoyed, to be honest. Why is this article has GitOps in the title?
Well, it's from Weaveworks.
Yeah, I understand. But kind of like, this is literal. You remove GitOps and the value of the article is still the same. So far.
I actually think the value of the article is even greater.
Yeah.
Because this is one of the best. You've identified which changes can be automatically deployed to production and which require a manual pull request. Right? I can do that without Kubernetes. It can be done. Git management. We have declared everything in Git. Everything in Git. Doesn't need to be GitOps for that.
No, absolutely not.
It could even be Subversion or CVS. It doesn't have to be Git. Right? It doesn't matter. We've decided on an initial structure for our Git repositories.
Man, you remember that was one of the first things that I was telling people to do when working with CI/CDs, pipelines, all that stuff. Kind of, hey, make some side of kind of a common structure, common names for certain things, so that it can just plug into the system, every repo. Again, nothing to do with GitOps.
Nope. And you don't have to have just one. Let's clarify that. Some people think, this is the way to do it. No, because the way that a Node project looks is different than how Java looks, is different than how .NET looks. But you have standards for those types of things. And it's okay. So what if you have 12 of them? Those 12 map to a singular of something. And if at some point that breaks, then guess what? You either base it and have a variation, or you decide the old way is the old way, this is the new way. Lots of different options. Okay, I'm going to try to get through these a little bit quicker. This whole section specifically on GitOps pipeline. That's all GitOps. Don't care. That's GitOps. But we get below this. We get to Kubernetes. We have decided where we would host our Kubernetes clusters.
Imagine if you have clusters and you haven't decided where they are. Kind of, is that even physically possible? Kind of like, I don't know. There's somewhere. John did it 3 years ago.
This kind of point just proves that it was some architecture team or some architect writing something from the high tower saying, we're doing Kubernetes, but never decided where, how, when.
Look at the text below that one. Kind of like, basically, my interpretation of the text is that, any option can be. It can be any option.
But you've decided.
Yeah.
How can... So in order for this to be written down, that means somebody did not do this. How do you... Trusted delivery. We've set up policies to run security, resilience, coding standards. From tooling to the way I'm going to say it is, from raw source code to running environment. Right? You should be doing this. If you're not doing this, you're not doing software. Sorry. This one is really important. Using a dedicated secrets management service. In today's world, there's no reason to not do that.
Okay, again, how many companies do you know that don't have a dedicated, that they have a bunch of. If there is anything dedicated, I've seen in every single company is precisely that. Okay, move on. I'm getting meaner and meaner with every minute.
We've ensured that platform engineers have direct access to clusters, not developers.
Cool.
I'll even fight this one depending on what a platform engineer is. Nobody should have direct access to it, but okay, whatever.
Yeah, the way I interpret this is that this is a disaster scenario type of access, right? Kind of like when things don't work, somebody needs to have direct access, which I agree.
Sorry, I dropped
the system
my
fails.
headphone. Right. There has to be a break glass, but should you always be running in break glass mode? No.
No.
You should have to break glass in order to get that access. And then you fix the glass and go on about business. Okay, anyway. I saw this reposted on the CNCF site today, and I was like, this is a phenomenal post. To the people at Weaveworks, whoever wrote this, whatever set of people wrote this, this has not been... How can I say this politely? This cannot be promoted strongly enough. I think you could rewrite this even without GitOps and have this one as your GitOps specific implementation, but boy, this is a great checklist. So Weaveworks, actually, 2 thumbs up. Okay. Waypoint 0.9 came out this week. I wonder if they're going to be like they were with Terraform and go up to like 0.100, 150. They introduced Task, and it gives you now the ability to see the state of the runners, if I'm saying that correctly. More insight into what the Waypoint server is doing as it schedules tasks to execute jobs on a project. So that came out in 0.9. And a new runner uninstall and install command, so you can do that separately. And what is this? Oh, they were talking more about Waypoint HCL and next steps. Speaking of HCL, there's going to be an episode coming out of the podcast in September that is interesting if you're working with Jira, if you're an administrator of Jira, Salesforce, that kind of stuff. Be ready for that one. We recorded it yesterday, and it was really good. YaRadare. Is it No, it's not YaRadare. It is YaRadare right here. YaRadare. This project came out about 5 hours ago. It scans, it's from DeepFence, so they're into security, way into security. Scans container images, running containers, I won't say the D word, and file systems to find indicators of malware. Okay, number one, anytime you have to install malware or antivirus on your Kubernetes clusters, that's just dumb on the nodes themselves. I know why you're doing it. It's just the old way and old thinking. But the real problem is going to be what's in the containers. So now it's based on a YARA rule set to find known malware signatures. And they have an example, I think in this one. Yeah. So you could run it against just an image. And this is XMRig is just part of a crypto miner exploit. So you can scan the image, and then you can get information out and find out if there's something going on inside of that project or inside of that image. You can also do it running. Do you remember the tool that also does this at runtime? There's another one that's been out, but not for not malware specifically, but you could install it into the cluster, and it would give you runtime
information about
from this kind of like things that are bad.
For example, does that?
Yeah, maybe that's the one I'm thinking about. Anyway, there's a new one, but this one's focused more at malware, which nobody I had seen had focused on malware yet.
I mean, I'm a bit disappointed about the example, to be honest. I expected some example that has at least a minimal chance of anybody using that. Right?
Well, today, yes.
I mean, kind of like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not saying that it's not a good tool. Probably it is. Great. But kind of, hey, Bitcoin mining images, something like that, nobody heard of. Give me something. Find me an example with MongoDB, something. I don't know. Right?
Okay. Anyway, new project just out today. Let's go here. Podium. Watching your pods. So this is actually a Rust project. Not Go, it's Rust. I saw this on a tweet today, and I can't show the full screen here. So it's from, I'm going to say Jans Ryman. Somebody please correct me if I'm wrong. I've been playing with Rust and Kubernetes again. It's Scratch, early version, but run it on a daily basis. This is about a 40-second video to where it goes through, or screen capture, that goes through and shows him using this. So basically you start it up, you land into a pod, you can go back up into the deployments and then trace down. But what's interesting is what's getting ready to come up here in just a second is when you go into a deployment here, it's staying live. So like it went down to the container running, and it's just actually real time. So if you look in the far right-hand corner here, you can see the clock is ticking up. Now, how this is any different than K9S, I don't know. But
Not that I see, but yeah, I need to try it.
But it's with Rust, and it's like it's something, because now Rust is the new hotness, I guess, even though it's not new nor hot.
Oh yeah, no, I think that Rust is the cool hip one.
Where Go used to be, now Rust is.
Yeah, because Go became popular, and you cannot be hip if you're popular.
Right. Sort of like here. I'm going to do this live. Oh, please make sure it's right. I think this is it. Nope, that's not it. Boy, I'm glad I wasn't horribly off. This one. This one. So we all love Electron. I don't know if you do like JavaScript-based development, but Tori released at 1.0 last week before last. But front end is JavaScript, but back end is Rust. So that's the only reason why I brought this up, is because the back end is all built on Rust. So, and I'm seeing some Electron-based apps starting to migrate over to Tari already. And they're already seeing pretty major performance improvements. Not so much that it's improved performance, but the machine that it's running on isn't being hammered like most Electron apps do to you.
I have the impression that actually, if you switch from Electron to anything, you would see performance improvements. It's kind of, you would need to do your best to actually make it less performant.
Yeah. Speaking of performant, YAML only? Come on. Really?
I like the idea. It's called KPT. So I like the idea that I have my YAML files that I apply to Kubernetes cluster, not templates that become YAML files, not YAML files overlaid by other YAML files, overlaid by other YAML files, and so on and so forth. So pure YAML. If I could be able to manage effectively pure YAML, I'm all for it. It simplifies me understanding the current state greatly. And KPT, I just love it as an idea. Now, whether it's mature enough, that's a different question. Whether it is focused enough, also a different question.
I was trying to tear down my camera while you were talking. I was ignoring you, basically.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's fine.
Wait, but essentially, I think that the difference, and when you think about it, it's kind of almost strange that we don't see that more often. It's like in-place modifications of stuff instead of out-of-place modifications. Right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of, when you think about it, strange that it's not happening more often, right? like when we work with code, we make in-place modifications, right? We don't use code to generate other code, right? At least not often.
Not often. You can, but not often. Okay. So that was your video for this week. Next week, what are you doing?
Next week, I already did next week, but I don't remember what it is. Yeah, about dependency management.
Oh, okay. That'll be fun.
Hmm.
Because that's, even though it's easy, it's hard.
It's easy when you apply the tools, and there are quite a few. But without tools, it's just a nightmare, right?
Yeah.
Who can go through dozens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of libraries, dependencies, and kind of like really keep them up to date? Oh no, even be informed whether they're up to date. It's kind of horrible job.
And it's not just your dependency, it's the dependencies of the dependencies of the dependencies of the dependencies. So that's coming from you on Monday. Podcast on Wednesday. Nothing on Thursday.
No stream of. Nothing on Thursday, nothing on Friday.
And nothing on Friday. We will not be here next Friday because Victor will have, hopefully, just gotten back from one of the most magical places on the planet.
If you're 12-year-old.
If you're a 12-year-old. So we're just waving that one off. Plus, that will give me more time to redo the studio here. So I'm not having to do everything in under a week. So renovate. Oh, so yeah. So people are asking, Dependabot, renovate. We're not going to say what it is.
Yeah, you need to wait for Monday. Don't be patient. Have a wonderful weekend.
I waited 10 years for these two most wonderful things to show up. I waited 2 extra days to do it with you. You can wait 3 days for Victor's video. Or not. I don't know. So, we should be back the next week, though. I don't see a reason why we would not be. So, which that would be. So next week is the 15th. Week after next, right. So 15th, we are not going to be here. 14th, nothing over on Victor's channel. We should be back on the 22nd. 22nd, yes, if I'm doing the math right. And now I need to go set up some new machines. Actually, probably not, because I've got to write 2 more scripts for this afternoon, and I don't want to. I just want to get those done, so then I can go do this.
Don't you? Okay, now tell me, don't you want to write those scripts on new machines?
If all I had to do, like if I had already unboxed it and got it set up, then the answer is yes. But for me to get to the point to where I can write, I don't have an hour or 2 to do that.
Okay.
I don't. It's like video scripts I've got to write for next week. Plus, here's the bad thing. I still use VMs like nobody's business. But this, I can't run VirtualBox on this.
You can or cannot?
Cannot. Not on the M1s.
Really?
Yeah. And that's one of the big things.
VirtualBox. Okay, VirtualBox. Okay. Now my brain. Yeah, exactly. Oh, there is a solution.
Buy an Intel machine?
What's the name? No. Wait. Let me remember.
Oh, the cloud?
AWS.
Yeah. But then that involves money, and I don't need it for that long.
Free tier.
No, I've burned through my free tier long ago.
Company account.
Possibly. My daughter, I guess, is telling me what I have to do.
Yeah.
I need to, but not yet. I can wait a couple hours. It's not a big deal. Now, will I go to bed tonight? Probably not. Tonight will probably be... You know what, Sebastian? That's a good... I thought about that, but based on what I've read with VirtualBox, it doesn't support it. And that's sad. So also on my list of things to buy, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, a Dell machine. running Windows.
Yeah.
Because for an Intel-based machine, I can't justify buying an old Mac. I mean, I could, right? I could go get an old Mac Mini, run it headless, and that would be fine. But that's still going to be more expensive than buying a brand new Intel-based Windows PC from Dell or anybody else.
Okay, so here's an idea that I haven't tried. You can run VMs in Kubernetes, right?
Can you?
Yeah, of course. You can run VMs in containers. You can run VMs on the host nodes. But let's say containers.
No, okay, so what I'm trying to do, that means I would have, so I think I see where you're going, but that means I would have to change how I've been doing things for over 2 years. I'm willing to do it.
Change how you've been doing things, or you cannot do them. Are those the two options you have right now?
For the moment, yes.
Or you can go to buy a new Intel something.
Yeah, or I keep using what I have that's Intel-based. I'm good with doing that move because I'm almost far enough ahead to where I've got a little bit of breathing room to do something like that, to restack my tooling. And I think that's what I've got to do is I just need to restack my tooling, which I'm okay with.
Do you want me to make you a video about running VMs in Kubernetes?
Sure, why not? Can you have that for me by next 3 hours?
Gist? If Gist will do, yes.
I could do a gist in 3 hours. Yeah, don't do that. It's late and you're no. Thank you, but yeah, you could do me a gist. Linux is an option, but it still gets back to x86.
Yeah.
Like Sebastian said, you have to have a hypervisor for that. So it's KubeVirt. Would that work?
Yeah, that would. I mean, I haven't tried it locally in Rancher Desktop, let's say, but I don't see why it wouldn't.
It should work.
That's what I meant, yeah.
Yeah, because I've got Rancher Desktop. Well, Rancher Desktop will be obviously showing up. Now, I did not say the specs on these. This is 8 gig, 256 gig. So this is base model. It was 550, I think, or something, 560. This, good grief, this is heavy, is 32 gig, 512 hard drive, which is the base for this model.
I mean, if you dedicate 8 gigs to virtual machines, you have enough for those and still plenty to go.
Yeah. Yeah, as I'm saying, this would be fine. Does it say? Okay.
It's a bit embarrassing that Apple put half a terabyte of disk.
Mm-hmm.
But hey.
Well, remember
Apple needs
though,
to do something like that
with it being a system on a chip, that's how they do their swapping. So 32 gig of RAM, there's probably some magic math because M1's moving stuff off to disk. Right? So there's got to probably...
You can extend it with more disk.
No, I understand that. But so why did you say that about 512?
Because it's embarrassing that's a base. I kind of like 1 or 2 terabytes should be considered the base. Kind of like simply...
Okay.
It's kind of embarrassing to even mention by Apple, we consider 512 as base.
Yeah.
It's really kind of... You have that much on I don't know, on phones today.
If I could break out my phone has, I got the maxed out Pro Max, so I have no idea I think I got a terabyte on mine, on my phone, right? So it's, actually that was my most powerful machine up until now. And it's still, my Pro Max is more powerful than this. Okay. Everybody have a great weekend. We will be back in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And I could play the cool... I got to play this intro one more time, though. Is it going to play? Oh, no. Oh, I turned the volume down. Here, I got to play at least this one a little bit more here. That one. This is what I wanted. Yeah, that's what we need, right? This is called Last Stand. Okay. Weird enough. Enough of that. Everybody have a great weekend. We will see you in a couple of weeks. Oh, you know what? It doesn't let me go on if the music's playing. Well, that's stinky. Oh, wait. You know what? I hit the wrong button again. Now it will work. Bye.